What you doing, zombies? I'm the AC. I'm going to talk about Fear of the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 7, the mid-season finale, Damage from the Inside. Now, I'm not exactly sure a certain point in the episode that the title comes from. I think it's just referring to mainly Strand trying to do damage from the inside. He's trying, appear like he's on Virginia's side. But he's so convincing that even Alicia, Charlie, they're kind of going against him too. They're not exactly happy with him. We saw in another episode, John even had a falling out with him. So, a lot of people are starting to turn on Strand, even though I still believe he is doing it for the rest of his group. And he's saying he is. He's saying he has to get to a point where he can actually roll out his full plan and do the damage from the inside. But yeah, I guess people don't have any faith in him, even though he's pretty much always helped them, or always tried to do his best for them as much as he could. But anyways, this episode starts off with Strand taking Dakota to some kind of safe house guarded by this whole convoy, and apparently through them talking we can find out that it's been a week since John has left and Virginia lost her hand. Eventually, though, their convoy is attacked. Dakota runs off somewhere while Strand and another ranger is off checking something else out. So then Strand is desperate because, he doesn't want to get on Virginia's bad side and calls Alicia to come help. And she and Charlie have been in some kind of watchtower where Strand has reassigned them, which, can kind of be a safe thing, kind of also isolates them. So if Virginia did want to get rid of them, that would be a good place to do it. But yeah, Alicia and Charlie have kind of just been ignoring Strand ever since they've been put there. But eventually she reluctantly meets him, and agrees to go find Dakota. Because she is learning about these sprayers, the spray painters, I'm just calling them sprayers. And she's kind of considering maybe there's someone she could join to go against Virginia. But she wants to find Dakota because Dakota may know something about them and use her for information or just as a bargaining chip. Eventually, they find this lodge. Alicia goes in, even though she had the element of surprise, somehow she finds a guy doing some kind of modifications to the walkers, and then somehow he's just suddenly behind her and drugs her and knocks her out. She wakes up, realizes Dakota's there, and the guys didn't know who she was, that's why he did. Then Dakota, I guess, sorts out, blah blah blah. They're all there. Apparently this guy has been doing these modifications to the walkers to scare people away, scare Virginia's rangers away so they don't come looking. Of course, Alicia is still suspicious of it. Dakota, she's been wanting to get away from her sister this whole time, so she's all for staying. Eventually, though, Alicia finds a radio, makes a deal with Virginia that if she helps get Dakota to the safe house, her and Charlie can just go start over on their own and they can't come after her. Well, I don't know why she thought she was being sneaky. The guy has been keeping his eye on her the whole time. And of course, he knows Alicia went and used the radio. It wasn't a very smart move on her part. None of this is really that smart. But to turn out, Ed, the guy, he's not really a bad guy overall. He, like everybody, he's kind of done bad things or not the best things. And eventually, they're having to escape. But one night, he just calls in a bunch of walkers using music. And this is where the really cool part of it is just seeing everything he's done. He's giving them antlers. He's giving some weird hands that are just like a giant spike. He's doing a lot of these modifications. And man, there's a lot going on with him. He's been busy. They're actually, some of them are legitimately creepy. Anyways, just when they think they have no plan, Charlie shows up, coming in clutch, even drugs him. It doesn't really take. He wakes up pretty much right away again, and they're trying to escape now. But then Alicia gets in a fight with Ed. Ed ends up getting stabbed. He tries to tell this whole story about Virginia killed his family while he was out once. Turns out that was all a lie. He actually got them killed once he started making all these modified walkers. He was just, I don't know, trying to feel pity, trying to scare him into staying. I don't know. Overall, he wasn't a bad guy, though. He just, you know, you get twisted in this kind of apocalypse sense. So, walkers, these creepy modified walkers, finally break in. They attack Ed, and then Morgan shows up. Yay, Morgan finally found more of the people. He heard the music. Okay, I don't know where he was at that he was able to figure that out so easily. But yeah, I mean, if he heard it, you think everyone else would have heard it? Whatever. So they clean that up. And then Morgan's trying to convince Alicia that she should go with him. Except for Alicia starts piecing some stuff together and realizes Morgan's the one that attacked the convoy that was protecting Dakota, got them all killed. Now Morgan said he gave them all a choice, but they all sided with Virginia. Of course, we don't see him actually attack them, so we take his word for it, but we are starting to see Morgan kind of go down this slippery slope of being like the kind of crazy Morgan. But he does have an actual goal this time, and he is trying to be more hopeful. But, I mean, that's kind of how he was before, whenever the war with the Savior started. So, I don't know, it could snowball again until he is just this crazy Morgan again. I don't know. But Alicia realizes this is happening and decides she doesn't want to go with him if he's like this. Morgan's wanting to use Dakota as a bargaining chip to get the rest of his people out. Just like Alicia did, but then Alicia realizes it's wrong now because it's not her idea. I don't know, I guess when it comes from a different point of view, you realize what is wrong. And yeah, Alicia doesn't want to go with him, but then Morgan's like, okay, Dakota's welcome. He never says that he's not going to use that as a bargaining chip. He just says that she's welcome to come with him. I guess that's enough. And then I was really hoping Strand would show up because he was obviously trying to keep track of Alicia, and then he does. And then stuff gets a little tense with him. Of course, Strand didn't know Morgan was alive. I mean, none of them did. So then he sees him, and he realizes there's a whole different plan going on that's not his. And I guess he doesn't really know what's going to happen with his. And especially since Alicia and Charlie are going to go with Morgan, it puts a wrench in his plan. And so much so that Alicia kind of threatens Strand, and then Morgan, and then Strand ends up having to bring up his gun. There's a little standoff between them. Like, it was intense, but it's also showing this dynamic of Alicia not trusting Strand anymore, and then Morgan not really trusting Strand. It was a kind of a big jump to suddenly just be that threatening to him. I don't know. Alicia must have really got her feelings hurt getting reassigned that, because it's such a big jump. They were getting along so well, kind of. I mean, there was that tension in the episode. But then it's just, it seemed like a big leap for her to suddenly be so hostile and untrusting of him. Because, I mean, besides doing and being a ranger for Virginia, he hasn't really done anything untrustworthy. I mean, there's no reason to doubt that he's not trying to help from the inside. That's his whole thing. I mean, of course, Morgan knows Daniel's doing the same thing too. He's being a spy. Strand could be a spy too, and if anything, Strand's just more cunning. I don't know. There's a lot of distrust going on Strand, and I don't understand why. Well, I mean, at first. So, Strand goes back and actually tells Virginia that Alicia and Charlie and Dakota all went with Morgan. I'm not sure exactly what this plan is. I guess to really get her to trust him. And then it works because Virginia reveals Grace. We finally get to see Grace has been trapped in some kind of shed or something like that this whole time, looking very pregnant. And yeah, then Virginia also makes this declaration to Strand. It's like she wants all of them back. And I guess that's going to be her job to get them all back. I guess the whole having Dakota thing is going to backfire. I don't know. I'm really trusting Strand on this one. I mean, Morgan is cool, but we're seeing him do his slippery slope thing. Strand, on the other hand, he's still being who he is. I mean, he didn't forget who he was. He's going back to season 1 through 3 Strand. The only difference between now is, one, he cares about the people even more that he's trying to save. Also, he has no history with Virginia. If you think back to season 1 through 3 Strand, every time something went wrong, it's because the people had history with Strand. They knew him, they knew how cunning he would be, and they didn't trust him right away. So it didn't matter what he did, he was always going to be betrayed by the people he was trying to also betray, kind of, or work with, we don't know. Virginia doesn't have that history, so she can fully end up trusting him. She doesn't know how strong their allegiance to each other are, and she can see enough of Strand to realize maybe he is doing this just mainly for himself. He's going to do whatever benefits him the most. But we know Strand isn't completely like that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where Strand goes. This was kind of a weird episode to be a mid-season finale. I don't know. I feel like they did it just so they can end both the shows before December started. That way AMC can do their whole holidays, runs, and whatever. I don't know. But it looks like the rest of the season's going to get exciting. It looks like the next half is going to really just catapult us into a lot of action and even more devastating drama. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. I'm really looking forward to see when Morgan finally sees Grace again. That's one of the most one of the most things I'm looking forward to. But yeah, last thing I want to note, Talking Dead finally came back on TV instead of just being on AMC Plus. I guess they realized people weren't digging that, so they had to come back for a little bit. Or maybe this was planned for the mid-season finale. I don't know. Anyways, I always thought Strand was my favorite character from Fear the Walking Dead. Turns out Coleman Domingo is my favorite character from Fear the Walking Dead, and I guess Talking Dead too. Now, I say that because I am just a fan of Coleman Domingo, but he in the Talking Dead, he just goes on this like little, I guess, a tangent, a question of just wondering like, what happens to these walkers that all have plastic surgery and are like enhanced in this way? How are they looking now, and how creepy are they going to be? And it was so great. It's just Coleman's personality is just so amusing to watch. He's such a great actor and director. So I don't know. That's probably why I like Strand so much, is because of him. But anyway, I just want to say that because I'm glad to see Talking Dead's back on, to just see more of this stuff. But yeah. Anyways, let me know what you thought of the episode, if you liked it, if you liked the direction it's going, or if you didn't like it, and for whatever reasons these may be. But if you like what I have to say, go and like the video. You want to see me talk more about Fear the Walking Dead and other kinds of stuff, go and subscribe to my channel. You can see when I do all that. But until next time, I'm the SC. Thank you for watching, and bye.